Okay. It's so loud. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to this Aalto Academic Summit on the impact of universities on economic growth. This is an extremely timely topic. We are living times where science-based innovations are desperately needed to address our global challenges like energy, environment, urbanization and health, for instance. And we also have really great opportunities and potential for research breakthroughs and radical innovations. When you think about modern research topics like nanomaterials, biotechnology, future of ICT, etc. So there is also great potential on that side. So in a way I see that we have this excellent opportunity to conduct excellent research and also create new innovations. The objective of this summit is to trigger new interactions within academia, among policymakers and with industry. We want to show in concrete terms how research-based education and entrepreneurship lay the foundations for a successful knowledge economy. Let's start with the students. This place is a bit unusual for this kind of a meeting, but we could not resist taking it because of the huge event, the SLUSH startup event that we are having here, and it is a student-driven activity. Now, to learn a bit more what we are going to see and how this was built, I asked Juho Hyytiäinen.
Hi. Okay, it's a bit hard.
To say a few words about SLUSH. He's one of the persons who have been creating this. His job title is Student and Entrepreneur. Juha.
Thank you very much. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. And on behalf of SLUSH and the whole organizing team, very much welcome here to SLUSH 2014. My name is Juho Hyytiäinen. I'm an Aalto student at Aalto Design Factory. I also lead the operation at Smartly.io, which is a growing venture based also by Aalto people. And I'm also leading the international operations here at SLUSH. So I was asked to tell about two kind of perspectives here. So first of all, what is SLUSH and what is the connection with Aalto students that is there? SLUSH is, as you know, is the biggest, currently the biggest startup conference or technology conference in the whole Northern Europe. Today, 2014, we are first time here at Messukeskus because we simply ran out of space in other venues that we've been in before. This year, we have more than 13,000 registered people here from more than 90 different countries. We have 1,400 companies from 70 countries, 65% Nordic, rest of them are from Asia and around the globe. And we have more than 750 investors, and total in worth of those investment companies is more than $200 billion. And even though in last year there was made approximately around the SLUSH organization and those people or those companies attending, we tracked back more than 200 million of made investments in those companies that can somehow be tracked back to SLUSH. So, but what SLUSH was before and what is related to its students is that the SLUSH has been an entity since 2008. But in 2011, it was the brand and the whole concept was sold and took over by aalto-ES, so Aalto Entrepreneurship Society. And since that 2011, this whole event, this whole thing has been driven by the Aalto's entrepreneurial students community, so aalto-ES and Startup Summit. And this has led to date of this massive production. That total worth of this whole event is more than 2 million euros, just this event. And what is it going to do, and what SLUSH actually does? We have three key things that SLUSH does. We first of all try to get the best startups and growth companies to come here to SLUSH and to link with international and domestic investors, link them to media to find the right coverage for their stories, and link them to corporations where they can find potential customers and get valuable feedback. The second key issue is that we're trying to tackle is that we want to build an ecosystem that inspires people to be entrepreneurial and is prosperous for growth and entrepreneurship. And that is what links back to the Aalto students. So in 2011 we had 1,500 participants at Kaapelitehdas, and today we have almost close to 15,000. And this momentum helps us to get all the viable players from corporations. Today's speakers range from the Chief Technology Officer of Alibaba and to key politicians and key figures that really give this event that much of a momentum that people from all around the globe, the key players, the key investors, the key politicians, come here to SLUSH and help us build the better companies here in the Nordics. So that's the story of SLUSH, and that's on behalf of me. Very much welcome to here, and please enjoy, tweet, and have fun at SLUSH 2014. Thank you.
I know Juho is quite big. Okay, I know Juho is quite busy, but one question would be okay, or two short questions about SLUSH and its.
Where does the name come from, SLUSH?
Well, that's actually a really good question.
Please repeat the question.
My question was, where does the name SLUSH come from?
So the original people behind SLUSH 2008 were Peter Westerback, whom I know, CMO of Rovio, and Timo Hapelta, who's leading the Lifeline Ventures venture capitalist firm here in Finland, and they come up with this name. I think it kind of well represents two things. The general atmosphere that is at Finland at this time of the year. It's dark and it's rainy and it's all that, but this is the highlight, and this is kind of, you know, the spark in all that. So great things can come in between in the darkness, and things can prosper. So it's kind of, you know, the little candle flicker there in the darkness.
Okay, is there another question? Okay, here it is.
Do you have to tell me what is the number, hundreds of millions this year that you will invest during this after this last happening?
Well, that has to be a wild guess. Like I told, last year we could track back more than 200 million of made investments, somehow related to SLUSH, so people either met here or contracts has been signed or investors and companies have met. And if we think about that, we have around the same amount of investors, and but we have more companies here, so we could be expecting around 300 million this year if everything goes well.
Okay, let's give a big hand to Juho.
Thank you all very much.
Okay, so as you just heard, SLUSH is a wonderful example how universities together with through their education system and encouraging atmosphere can really create a favorable conditions for growth, and even in a relative fast-paced growth. That's research often has much longer time spans, but here we see kind of immediate result. I believe that letting students do more team-based projects as part of their normal education has a very positive boost on the outcome. Hands-on projects deepen understanding of the underlying theories and teach skills that are extremely useful both in academia and industry. Aalto University's mission is to build a better world and a stronger Finland. At Aalto, science and art meet technology and business. So the mission makes a clear reference to the economic impact. As a young PhD student, I was using a computer terminal at Cornell where somebody had pasted a sticker. Thinking is no substitute to computing, and computing is no substitute to thinking. And I was kind of keeping that in mind, and I had some difficult times in making progress. So in order to make progress in writing your thesis, you had to balance between the thinking or the kind of original research and then doing and implementing the whatever tests you had to do, or or writing. In my mind, this same metaphor, both and metaphor, is equally important when thinking about pure research and on one side, and its impact on the potential application domains on the other side. So information flows really both ways, and it's both and. You cannot. It's seldom that you can do all the basic research and don't thinking about implementation aspects or potential impacts and vice versa. So my own experience tells that industry-academia cooperation, the information really flows in both directions and both sides benefit. Also the basic research sides benefit from that collaboration. The amount of flow is, and also the speed of flow depends a bit on the field of research that you are conducting. In some areas it's more, and some areas it's naturally a bit less. This summit is organized around two daily themes. One is from research to innovation, and the other one is co-creating the next millennium. If you so wish, you can also read the program in a slightly different way, and I will tell now how I read it. We have three wonderful sessions that focus on the characteristics of a good modern innovation environment. We have one on academic entrepreneurship. We have one on how to create a flourishing innovation ecosystem. And the third one is on co-creation and crowdsourcing. All very important topics today. And then the second path through this two-day seminar covers 4 specific research and innovation domains which are of global importance and where Finland has some specific strengths. Here we take a look at human health, ICT, bioeconomy, and sustainable technologies. I strongly recommend you actively participate in this two-day summit, and I guarantee that from each session you will find something that is fresh and valuable to you. On Thursday we also have a campus tour with very exciting demos and what we are doing here at aalto-yliopisto. Ladies and gentlemen, this is definitely the first academic event where the opening keynote is given during the breakfast time. But it's my great pleasure to invite Dr. Mikko Kosonen, President of the Finnish Innovation Fund Sitra, to give this keynote here. Mikko, welcome. The floor is yours.
Yeah. Thank you, Yrjö. Our distinguished colleagues, dear friends, ladies and gentlemen. It feels like being in an airport lounge, but I really enjoy. I hope you also enjoy the event here. It's my great pleasure to you this morning to address you with and share with you some of my and Sitra's, my organization, Finnish Innovation Fund's ideas on how the academic community can, together with the business community and the public sector, address the kind of the wicked problems of our times. I mean, namely healthcare, aging, climate change, etc. We are all needy. I have basically 3 points to share with you. One, we are facing unprecedented challenges as we speak, and to address these challenges, new governing principles and operating models, ways of working are needed from all stakeholders. Secondly, to address these wicked problems, the social and ecological problems we are facing is at the same time probably the biggest business opportunity of our times. So it's not an obstacle for business, it's an opportunity. And finally, really to unleash the potential, we need to learn to understand and create and manage ecosystems, which calls for changes from all stakeholders. Let me next kind of try to elaborate each of these 3 points a little bit deeper, starting from the kind of the unprecedented challenges and the governance challenge we are facing. We just cannot now and in the future anymore continue functioning in the society as we have been doing so far. In other words, that every party, academic community, public sector and business community operate in their own silos as before. Because none of these problems can be solved alone by any one stakeholder. It's a fact. A deep and deeper collaboration and integration between these disciplines and fields are needed. We are in a way trapped prisoners of the industrial era, very hierarchical, siloed governance models, and that prevents us from addressing the big phenomena-centric kind of problems that we are facing today, all societies, including Finland. But we have a lot of potential there. Now, how do we have to then change? I think the academic community really have to learn to get closer to the decision makers. And in order, they need to be able to relate their research expertise and topic to the real life challenges of the decision makers. And in order to do that, they need to understand, they need to learn more to think in terms of systems. Systems theory should be a basic course for everybody in order to understand how the world functions, not to get deeply involved in only discipline only, as important as it is, but you need the T-shape kind of knowledge. And you also, the academic community needs to learn to communicate better. Communication skills are important, interaction skills are important in order to the society benefit from your research results. And of course, I mean, we need more cross-disciplinary research projects, phenomena-centric research projects, together with the business and academic and public sector. But businesses also have to change. Technology alone, nor even a good business model, is not enough to address these problems. University-based startups are extremely important in addressing these problems because they bring the leading or bleeding edge technologies, and university also can help society to understand complexity better. But the companies alone, even the biggest companies cannot address these systemic problems alone. Companies need to learn to kind of work together, create the market first. It's the kind of co-opetition paradigm where you cooperate in order to create the market and then compete. And you need to. Yrjö Neuvo remembers from our Nokia times that how in telecommunications industry companies collaborated very deeply first to create the new market and then competed. And this is another word to also ecosystems. But in today's world, to address these big problems, you need to even broader ecosystems where the public sector also gets involved. So not only the academic community and the companies need to think bigger and understand the bigger picture better, but the biggest change probably relates to the public sector in general. And public sector just cannot continue functioning as it has been so far, to focusing only its own business, so to say, but it needs to actively, in a preventive way, remove obstacles, create new legislation and incentives, provide meeting places like SLUSH type of things for different kind of stakeholders to get together, to learn to understand each other, and in some cases, which I will be sharing you in a second, the public sector stakeholders can also even create some new platforms on top of which the business community can start developing applications and services. So public sector needs to adopt a completely new, much more active, proactive kind of role in ecosystems building. The old-fashioned industrial policies of public sector where you just deal with taxation and framework conditions, it's not going to be enough in order to help us together to address the big problems of the society. So it's a big mindset change for everybody. And Sitra, my organization, plays an active role here. We are, the English translation to Sitra is the Finnish Innovation Fund. We are in a unique position in Finland. We are directly under the parliament. We have our own endowment capital of some $1 billion and the earnings of that fund we use for addressing wicked problems and societal challenges. And our role is really to challenge the status quo, the think tank part of our operation, but also we are a do tank. So we experiment new business models, new operating models in society, and take risk on behalf of public and private sector. So we try to act this kind of orchestrator of new ecosystems. And let me next share with you a couple of examples what we are doing, just to kind of let you understand better what I'm talking about and what kind of activities and actors societies more and more need. And I would probably also like to say that academic community, universities could as well play in the future a little bit more like a Sitra type of a role. Let me just next talk what we are talking about. Let's start from healthcare. We have a parallel session, by the way, at the same time. Unfortunately, I can't be and you can't be there dealing with healthcare. But the big paradigm shift that we need to carry out as soon as possible is really to get into this from curing diseases to preventive promotion of well-being. The aging populations in the world the problems with the aging populations cannot be otherwise dealt with if people don't start taking care of themselves earlier on, better on. And there are huge opportunities by technology. The sensor technologies and genomics data help people, help kind of medical industry, but also the whole healthcare sector to change. But in most countries, this change cannot be carried out by just good technologies or good companies, because like in Finland, most countries, healthcare is also deeply rooted in the public sector. And unless the public sector principles and incentives and the funding schemes and etc. are changed, no change can happen. So we cannot really unleash the potential without deep collaboration. And that's why Sitra has been recently working very hard in Finland in promoting a new funding scheme which kind of puts more kind of decision making to the citizens. Citizens can choose what kind of services and healthcare they need and want. The new incentives to promote kind of preventive behaviors and also then removing obstacles. But most importantly, recently we have been building together with companies a database for citizen-centric well-being data sent to the database via different sensors on internet, and we are now having 60 companies already, service providers and ICT companies, building their applications and services on top of this database. And now the Ministry of Social and Health in Finland will be in the future now adopting this platform as part of the national clinical database. So we have the citizen-centric databases and the clinical database coexisting, and the kind of the preventive health citizens' own data is in one database, and the clinical data, the patient records, in another one. And in the future, we have another project ongoing with the genomics data. We are doing a genome strategy for Finland together with the Ministry of Health and Social Affairs. And once we have the genomics data, so the clinical data, the citizen-centric kind of well-being data, and the genomics data in databases which are related to each other, we can build all kinds of new applications and services by the business community on top of this rich database. And this is what I mean by collaboration. We need the companies who do the applications. None of these applications alone will solve any problem. Companies need to get together. They need to create solutions, bundles of applications to really have an impact. But companies are not enough. The public sector needs to help them in creating the databases and the platforms. They need to create the new incentives and removing other obstacles, the incentives, etc. All this is needed. And of course, universities can play a lot of roles in different parts of this, in technology, in all parts of this ecosystem. So that's one example. The other relates, of course, then to climate data, and I'm aware of the time, so I'm finishing just saying that climate change and other similar challenge where Finland is currently number 2 in clean tech innovations, just right after Israel. But we have big problems in unleashing the potential. We have a lot of innovation potential, but we are not able to the problem is market access, funding, and lack of demonstration sites. Because you cannot conquer the world with your clean tech applications, however good they are, oftentimes ICT related, but unless we have credible demonstration sites in Finland, then where all these kind of solutions together show that climate change can be fought against, and we can become carbon free or neutral. We need to, in order to build kind of successful global companies and export products, we need the local demonstration sites, and that's why we are, for instance, in Finland now in Sitra working on 2 projects. One is in the capital area, metropolitan area. 6 largest Finnish companies have now joined together to challenge the state as well as the city to put more ambitious climate change targets and to create so-called industrial symbiosis, where the material flows where we will be reaching closed loop material cycles, and where once kind of waste is another company's raw material, and creating this industrial symbiosis, of course, reduces our import dependencies on energies, but makes room for new innovations, and also kind of creates new opportunities for new business models, etc. So the world is full of opportunities. That's what I'm saying, and we need to, for societal reasons, but also for business reasons, address these big, hairy problems, wicked problems. But in order to unleash this potential, we really have to learn to think differently, bigger, more systemic manner, and we need to kind of adopt new ways of working together. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mikko. This was a very insightful presentation. So, we have time for some discussion now. So, who wants to start?
Nobody.
Yes, we have the Ratko. Yes, please.
Hi, I'm Dawei, aalto-yliopisto. I have a question. What do you think will be the next Nokia for Finland? Thank you.
I don't think we will be seeing the next Nokia as one company. I think Nokia is a kind of a child of the previous paradigm. The product push paradigm, Nokia mastered that paradigm. Now we are more in the kind of bottom-up service kind of a co-creation paradigm, and it's hard to kind of believe and see a similar kind of setting anymore than Nokia in the future. I hope that Finland will be in the future, that the challenges of Nokia. I hope that in 10 years' time we will all be thankful for what happened to Nokia, because it was a trigger for the new entrepreneurial paradigm in Finland, where we are creating a lot of bottom-up startups which then create ecosystems and to address the wicked problems of society together, like healthcare and climate change. And so we have a lot of small Nokias which together create more value than the one Nokia.
Very good. Next one.
Good morning. I'm Whitehouse. I'm the board member at Aalto University, but I'll be speaking later this afternoon on some new models we're testing in the UK, bringing together public sector universities and private sector, very high-tech private sector industry. And so I agree with all the points you raised. And so that will probably save me a minute or two this afternoon in what I'm going to say. but you mentioned universities several times as you went through that. Could I just push you to be a little bit more specific, even if you have to be fairly sharp in your comments about what you're looking for your universities?
As I said earlier, I very much appreciate and I understand that in universities, in order to be really excelling, you need to go deep. But that depth should not take place on the cost of breadth in a way, and systemic in a way because if we are just going into more and more rigorous sciences, and I'm not saying necessarily to less relevant, but there's the risk that if you just emphasize rigor, you lose relevance, but you have to take care of the relevance and connection to really understanding the kind of phenomena. That's why I say that university researchers need to kind of learn to relate their expertise to the bigger picture and to the real life challenges of the decision makers. And I think this calls for more kind of systemic thinking and capacities in universities, collaboration and learning from each other, and also understanding the real life challenges. And as I said, also communication skills are important so that you can, in a way, translate the scientific language to the vocabulary of the decision makers, because they are all I'm seeing it every day. I'm in my old field of strategy and management. Companies are again and again failing at doing the same mistakes, even though the academic community have addressed those and resolved those problems many times. But since the business leaders don't read academic articles because they don't then understand the vocabulary, they don't get the message. So you have to do this.
By the way, Mikko was responsible for Nokia strategy when we were working in the same company, so he's very good. But if somebody... Okay, I got the message that we cannot continue much more this anymore. But still I would like to continue a bit. Do we have the resources, or do we just have to do, in the academia, to do the things, or do we ask for many topics that are work and good structures to start doing, but how about the resourcing?
I think we have the resources, of course. In a small country we cannot do everything, but I think we need to learn to use the resources smarter. So again, governance within the universities and across universities is also another important question. I think we need to, in the Finnish university sector, learn to collaborate much more. We need to agree on some priorities, put more critical mass in some areas in order to get the breakthroughs. We cannot afford having 20 plus or whatever kind of university and schools, all doing what they used to do.
This is the last question.
This is a political question, but
Yeah. Okay, one more.
You had in your presentation a word, creating market. Do you have a special program for that?
Creating market. It's a useful program, but I don't think we have yet a special program but I think this in that program we should, and in general I think in Aalto-University, in many universities, you should pay much more attention to so-called soft sciences, anthropology and others, to really understand behaviors, sociology, behaviors of people and how the brain works, in order to get deeper into the needs of people, and that way you can create new kind of products and services even before people, such services that people don't even, they are not aware of yet, those needs. So science could also help there, but you need to kind of concentrate more on understanding the human brain and the human behaviors collectively, and in order to, that helps then in the market creation.
Okay, thank you, Mikko, for a very insightful presentation.
Yeah. Thank you.